to finish Perek Bet in Melachim and to talk about Megillat Esther and Purim. So this will be like something that you are going to see how the Tanakh you can connect everything.
Oh, okay, good. I see I left my,
Sorry?
I left the book in the car, so I'll have to.
Your chair is missing here. Take the chair. Marie, she's so excited.
Can we start?
Yes, I started.
Okay, great. The third person that David tells Shlomo to get rid of him, but in a smart way, not in a violent way, right away, is Shimei. David already got rid of Adoniah, he got rid of Yoav, he fired Eviatar from the Kehuna and gave it to Tzadok. The last person is Shimei ben Gera. Shimei ben Gera.
You mean Shlomo?
Shlomo got rid, is Shimei ben Gera, right? So what is the story with Shimei ben Gera? I will repeat it in short for the people who were not with us in Shmuel Bet. David is running away from Yerushalayim because Avshalom tried to kill him, his son. On his way from Yerushalayim towards the east, crossing the Jordan, a person comes from Bahurim. His name is Shimei ben Gera. And as David ran for his life, depressed, his son tried to kill him, he screamed on David, throws stones on him, and says, Tze isha damim, Tze isha blial. He cares David when Ben Tsuya, who was it? It was not Yoav there. Who was the other brother at this time? His general is telling him, come, I'll chop his head. And he said, don't do anything. Because מהשם הייתה זאת, כי מהשם דיבר. David blamed himself for everything that happened after Chet Bathsheba and killing Uriah. And therefore he said, don't do anything. Don't do anything. Times change. Avshalom was killed by Yoav. And when he comes back, Shimei is one of the first one to come and greet him. And not only that, he actually presents himself as someone who brings with him the other half of Bnei Israel to re-accept David as the king. And he managed to extract Shvuah, an oath from David that he will not kill him. Although Avner is very upset with him and he wants to kill him, David says, today I'm not going to kill anybody. This is not a day to kill people. And he let Shimei to be alive, not to kill him, and to promise him that he's not going to kill him. That's why David tells Shlomo, I promised him, I did a shvuah that I will not kill him, but you are not obliged by my shvuah, find a way to kill him. And the end of Perek Bet is dealing with a very sophisticated way that Shlomo get rid of Shimei. So let's read it. We are in Pasuk Lamed Vav. Thank you. וישלח המלך ויקרא לשמעי. He called Shimi and said, listen, Mr. Shimi, well, we have something to do here. בנה לך בית בירושלים, וישבת שם. I'm not going to kill you. But, you know, I'm not looking for any opponents, any opposition. And you are a person that tend to be a troublemaker. You were not loyal to my father. Yes, he promised you that he's not going to kill you, but you know, I don't trust you. So, in Hebrew you call it ma'atzar bait. You know, like the corona, you sit in your home, bidud. You don't move.
House arrest.
House arrest, exactly. So, bnei lecha bait b'Yerushalayim, I want you next to me. You know, I don't want to think even for a second what this guy is doing over there. You are going to sit here in Yerushalayim. Say goodbye to Bachurim, where he came from, here. It's house arrest, but next to me, so I always can watch you. וישבת שם, in the house, ולא תצא משם אנה ואנה. You don't move anywhere in the house. והיה ביום צאתך, the moment you are going to leave your house, ועברת את נחל קדרון, you are going to cross the Kidron, which is the border of Yerushalayim to the east, ידוע תדע כי מות תמות. I'm not going to play games here. You cross נחל קדרון, you will not stay alive. דמך יהיה בראשך. And it's not my fault. You know exactly the conditions. You don't keep the condition. It's your fault, not me. ויאמר שימי למלך, after apparently he heard what happened with Yoav and Adoniah, he said, actually this is a good deal. Let's strike the deal before he regret. ויאמר שימי למלך טוב הדבר, כאשר דיבר אדוני המלך, כן יעשה עבדך, which is beautiful. He recognized him as a king. He talked about himself as a slave. וישב שמעי בירושלים ימים רבים. And indeed, a year passed, a second year, he there in Yerushalayim keeping his shvuah not to cross נחל קדרון, not to leave ירושלים. ויהי מקץ 3 שנים. After 3 years, that's more than 1,000 days. ויברחו 2 עבדים לשימי. 2 slaves are running away. Where are they going? They leave Israel, so it will be harder to get them. And they running to Achish ben Ma'acha melech Gat. Everyone who learn here, Shmuel Bet, remember Achish twice actually. Once when David ran to him from Shaul the first time and the second time. And then things, we are going to discuss it in a second, what happened then. ויגידו לשימי, לאמור, שימי heard, הנה עבדיך בגת. The slaves who ran away, they are in Gat. ויקום שמעי ויחבוש את חמורו. So Shimi hear that, he's going to get them back. וילך גתה אל אחיש לבקש את עבדיו. וילך שמעי ויבא את עבדיו מגת. He actually managed to get the עבדים from Gat. ויוגד לשלמה כי הלך שמעי. Shlomo heard that Shimei went to Gat, וישוב, and he came back. וישלח המלך ויקרא לשמעי. ויאמר אליו, why did you do that? הלא השבעתיך בהשם. There was a shvuah that you are not going to leave your house. והעיד בך לאמור. And I told you right away, there were עדים, witnesses who heard that. ביום צאתך. והלכת אנה ואנה. the moment you are going to leave, the day you are going to leave, anywhere, ידוע תדע כי מות תמות. And David he quote what he responded. ותאמר אליי, and you told me, טוב הדבר שמעתי. Right? He just repeated what he said. ומדוע לא שמרת את שבועת השם? ואת המצווה אשר ציוויתי עליך? So why didn't you keep it? ויאמר המלך אל שימי, so he told him, אתה ידעת את כל הרעה אשר ידע לבביך, אשר עשית לדוד אבי. Now I'm going like to pay you, not only for not doing what I commanded you to do, but this is an opportunity to settle the account with my father. והשיב השם את רעתך בראשך. All the stuff you did to my father, the way you treated him when he had to leave Jerusalem, Hashem saw it, Hashem kept it until this moment. והמלך שלמה בן ברוך וכיסא דוד יהיה נכון לפני השם עד עולם. Nothing on me. It's all your fault. I'm going to kill you, and by this I'm going to make sure that כיסא דוד is going to last. ויצב המלך את בניהו בן יהוידע. He had a busy okay, it was not the same day that he killed Adoniah and Yoav, but he is still the executor of Shlomo. ויצא ויפגע בו וימות, he killed him, והממלכה נכונה ביד שלמה. Now, after getting rid of Adoniah, Yoav, Eviatar, Shimei, הממלכה נכונה. Now it's time to establish the ממלכה. Okay, let's just analyze what happened here, because it's really interesting. Number one, from David's point of view, why David did not get rid of Shimei? Why indeed he promised him that he is not going to do anything, and if David found the ability to forgive Shimei for the terrible things he did to him, why he tells Shlomo to get rid of Shimei? Number two, how Shlomo knew that it's going to happen? Basically, I would say if we wouldn't know the story, we would assume that Shimei is not going to be stupid and to go and to leave Yerushalayim, exposing himself to a death sentence. So Shlomo had to be super smart to understand that he will do something like this. And remember, Shlomo did it with a purpose. Shlomo wanted to kill Shimei. That's what the will of David. Make sure to kill him. ועשית כחוכמתך. Don't let him die peacefully. So Shlomo somehow knew that by doing this, eventually Shimei will have to leave. Maybe he did not know about the slave who are going to run away, but he was sure that Shimei will not stand the condition of Shlomo. Number three, I must say that was something a little bit unfair here. Shlomo told him, don't cross Nahal Kidron. Nahal Kidron is on the east of Ir David. Right? Now, where did he go? Okay, he did not go to Tel Aviv, but he go to southwest. He go to Gat, Kiryat Gat of today, and he never crossed Nahal Kidron. So, why to kill him? He did not actually violate the conditions. I think the explanation is like this. Bachurim, as we explained in Shmuel Bet, is part of the inheritance of Binyamin. Shimi himself was from the Shevet of Binyamin. Shevet Binyamin is a Shevet of Shaul. There is a tension between David and Shaul. Shaul, the moment he recognized that David might be the king from Yehuda to replace him, he tried to get rid of him, although he was his son-in-law. The people of Binyamin obviously supported Shaul, who came from their tribe. And the moment David faced the rebellion from Absalom, the people of Binyamin say, wait a second, this is an opportunity here. David is paying for his sins, for the fact that Shaul lost the Melucha, Shaul and his son Jonathan were killed, and they see it not only on a, I would say, individuals, but on a national level. Here comes the person who took from Beit Shaul the Melucha. And therefore, when David leave, Shimei is the first one to go outside and to rebel against David. It's a Beit Shaul, it's a voice of Shaul. It's not only Shimei with a certain individual, he's from Bachurim, he's from the Shevet of Binyamin, the people who are so bitterly were actually dispelled from being the Shevet of the king. And indeed, when David came back, he realized that if he wants to be the king of Israel, the most difficult challenge is the tribe of Binyamin. If he manages to be in peace with Binyamin, the Shevet of the previous king, he will be fine with everyone else. And David, although 100% know that Shimei is a bad person, politically, he had to form coalition with a person like Shimei. The goal, David always focused on the goal. The goal was a unity of Am Yisrael. In a situation like this, you cannot hold a personal agenda against a certain person. And indeed, Shimei knew it, David knew it. But David never thought that Shimei is a Baal Tshuva. David always knew that this person is a very dangerous person. He still feels the anger about what happened to Shaul, and he blamed David for this. This is very dangerous to the successor. And therefore David is telling Shlomo, be careful. This guy is dangerous. And Shlomo tells Shimei the following. Listen, you remember that my father left Jerusalem? And you remember what you did to him? Well, you know, politically my father could not do anything. But we never forget something like this. My father, upon leaving Jerusalem, faced you. So first of all, to remember that you will never leave Jerusalem. You will be in Jerusalem, the city that my father left and returned to, and you will never leave Jerusalem. Number one, you always will remember why you are here. Because your encounter with David was when my father had to leave Jerusalem. Number one. You remember where you meet him? It was on Nachal Kidron. When David is crossing Nachal Kidron, what his name? Shimei approached him and threw the stones on him and cursed him, Tze ish hablial, Tze ish hadamim. So Nachal Kidron should always be on your mind. So first of all, he makes sure that Shimei knows what was his sin. You don't leave Yerushalayim, you don't cross Nachal Kidron, because these are the two landmarks where you approach my father, and we will never forget it. And David and Shlomo knew very well that these aspirations of Shimei never faded. He never really accepted David or Shlomo. He was a great politician. He saw that the power now is in David. He found even a way to convince David to forgive him. But they never had this mistake to think that Shimei now accepted him and everything is good. People like this are dangerous. You cannot trust. The Malbim say that he told him, don't go ana va'ana, don't go here and there, and don't cross the Kidron. So the Malbim say this was a trick of Shlomo. He spoke specifically about Nachal Kidron, giving him the impression that only by crossing Nachal Kidron he is going to kill him. So while he had the opportunity not to cross Nachal Kidron but to go to Kiryat Gat, he thought, that's okay, that's okay, I'm still standing the conditions. But in reality, Shlomo say, don't leave ana va'ana, don't go anywhere. So it was a nice way, say the Malbim of Shlomo, to trick Shlomo, and he got him. It's nice. But I think that there is something that actually calling from the Pshat, which is more profound. More profound. First of all, Shimei was a powerful person. How do I know? Because he had two slaves who ran away. You know, slaves don't run away until their master is a little bit cruel to them. So he still had in Yerushalayim, not even in his place, slaves, people that he exercised his power. We do know that many times, even in America, when slaves ran away, the problem was not just losing the slaves. The problem was that they were very afraid that other slaves will learn, and therefore they lynched them many times. Because the problem was not with them, they could replace them with someone else. But the problem was that other slaves might do the same. And Shimei cannot let it happen. Therefore he runs after the slaves. Because otherwise everyone will mock him. What kind of power you have if the slaves manage to run away and you don't get them back? But I think the key point here is where he gets them from, and so easily. He's going to Achish Melech Gat, and upon arriving there, apparently with a little negotiation, he gets them back. Apparently the king commanded to give them back to Shimei. I think it's quite easy to imagine what happened here, because Shimei is going to Gat, which is 1 day. He stayed there for 1 day, and after 3 days he come back to Yerushalayim. So it was not like he had to wait a week until they found them. He got them immediately upon arriving there. Now, who is Achish? So, let me tell you. Some of you might remember, and some of you maybe can't remember. Achish was a person that David ran to after Shaul tried to get him, to kill him. Politically, sometimes your enemies is your friend. Achish, the Plishti, Gat was a Palestinian city, was in constant fight with Shaul. Shaul actually was appointed because Bnei Israel suffered from the Plishtim, and therefore Shaul and Achish Melech Gat apparently had fights over the border, maybe even inside Israel. So David say like this: if I stay anywhere in the kingdom of Shaul, they will get me, and Shaul will get rid of me. What was the only shelter you could find some space and maybe someone will accept him. It's Achish Melech Gat. He's going to Achish Melech Gat, who accepted him. After all, he's the son-in-law of Shaul. He's against Shaul. He might be a good addition to my army, to my strategy. To the point that, if you remember, Achish appointed, at a certain point, he appointed David to be one of his generals. And David tricked him. David is fighting against the Amalek, the nations in the south, giving Achish the impression that actually he fights his brothers. At the end, Achish find out that David betrayed him completely. He became the king of Israel, and he is the greatest fighter against the Plishtim. So the person that Achish trusted, David, betrayed him completely. Once he became the king of Israel, he was against Achish. That's interesting. Because Shimei seems to be very at ease going to Achish Melech Gat and to get his slaves from. And why? Why Achish does not arrest him and say, you know what, now if David don't pay for you so much money, you will never return to your home. Shlomo doesn't pay. Because Achish was very pleased with, again, with the same strategy. My enemy is my friend. Here is again, I'm going to give him back his avadim, who cared about them. He will owe me something. At the right moment, I'm going to take the check and to give it to the bank. The ease he did it showed that Shimei, as a politician, had his way with Achish Melech Gat, waiting maybe to another opportunity when Shlomo is going to be weak, and to fight in behalf of Melech Achish against Shlomo. So Nachal Kidron, I think, was what Shlomo really thought is going to happen. He knew that one day or another, Shimei will try to go back to Bachurim, the village where he grew up, when apparently he had many people who followed him. That's what Shlomo thought. He never thought that Achish, Melech Gat, will be the address to go to. But to him it's the same thing. Going to Bachurim and to re-establish his power there, and to go to Achish Melech Gat is the same thing. He tries again to build his power. And therefore, Shlomo is telling him, to me, Nachal Kidron or not, it just, we all understood that you are not going to rebuild your power. Going to Achish Melech Gat is a try, and maybe even a bolder try, to create a new power. For this I cannot take. You are going to be killed. I think it's a more political, maybe I'm inspired by the elections in Israel. So I think too much politics here. But I think it's a better explanation than the Malbim, because the Malbim is nice, Ana Vana, but you know what? Politically, it's never this kind of agreement, breaking the agreement, are never like on a word. You know, this happened sometimes in corporation, the contract was not worded carefully. But in relationship and politics, it's always something very, very deep. And I think that the going to Melech Achish is much deeper than just like, okay, I say Dana Bana, you see, I outsmart you, you thought only Nachal Kidron, you see how smart I am. It's not about this, it's something much deeper, and I think that my idea is a little bit going more deeper than just like the words Ana Va'ana. No, it was not just Nachal Kidron, I meant this, you meant that.
Well, couldn't he just have said, look, if you go here or there, you're going to be killed? And he said, as soon as you cross the Kidron, you're dead. but maybe that was just an example. Anywhere you go, you're gonna get killed. Costa Nahal Kidron, that's the closest place you get killed.
So then he said, stay in your house.
Yeah, that, well, he did say, he said, stay in the city.
So why he mentioned Nachal Kidron?
Yes, it
So
was-
the Malbim said he mentioned Nachal Kidron to get him. I think it's more than that. He said Nachal Kidron, we know what was Nachal Kidron for Shimi. Nachal Kidron was a place where he meet David when he comes from Bahurim. So this concern was there all the time in the air, like that Beit Shaul is going to reappear, resurface. It was always there.
But it could also mean that, you know, this is where you met my father, and we haven't forgotten. It's just that, it's just, you know, just a way of telling him we haven't forgotten.
Right. I say it's when he did it, there was the words Nachal Kidron echoed in a certain way. Number one, on the event itself, but I think it was even deeper than that. You never think to rebuild your power. So Shimei is gone, almost. Because I want to go now to the second part of Megillat Esther that I told you, since it's last year before Megillat Esther, we will try to learn a little bit about Megillat Esther, and it's so interesting that actually I can just continue the first part of the shiur with the second one. And why? Because I will read you the following pasuk, Perek Gimel in Megillat Esther, that we will start our sojourn from here. Perek Bet. איש יהודי היה בשושן הבירה. There was a Jewish guy in Shushan HaBira. It's the first time that we know a Jew by the name Yehudi. He was not Yehudi, he was from Yehuda. Because Shmo Mordechai ben Yair ben Shimei. Interesting. Ben Shimei. Ben Kish. Who was Kish? The father of Shaul, right? Ish Yemini. What is Ish Yemini? It was like what? It was not lefty. From Binyamin. Ish Yemini is from Binyamin. אשר הוגלה מירושלים עם הגולה אשר הוגלתה עם יחוניה מלך יהודה. How he arrived to Persia because he was expelled with the galut of יחוניה מלך יהודה. אשר הגלה נבוכדנצר מלך בבל. The king of Babel expelled, this was the first galut. We are talking about two galuyot. The first galut was galut Yechonia, when the Elites came from Yerushalayim. Galut HaCharash VaHaMasger, these were the scholars, the important people, the family of the king. This was the first galut. 12 years later was galut Aseret HaShvatim, that everyone left Eretz Israel, and actually we don't know what happened to these tribes. Some people believe that they know, they are in India, they are here, they are there. So there is something interesting here. Ish Yehudi, Ish Yemini. So what? He was Yehudi from Yehuda, or he was from Binyamin? So listen to what Chazal are telling us. Very, very interesting. They say, of course, he was Ish Yemini. He was Ish Yemini. He was indeed from the family of Shimei, who was Ish Yemini. He was from the family of Shaul, because he was Ben Kish. But you know why he's called Ish Yehudi? Because the reason that Mordechai existed belongs or credited to Ish Yehudi, for someone who came from Yehuda. Who is he? David HaMelech. If David HaMelech would kill Shimei, Mordechai will never appear on stage. So the credit for Mordechai, for his leadership then, he was Ish Yemini on one hand, but you have to give the credit to the one who saved his alter Zayde life, Shimi. If David would accept the advice of Yoav to kill Shimi on the spot, Mordechai will never show up on the Jewish history. To me, it's a very profound midrash. What, do you think that David thought that, I cannot kill him because I can see Mordechai, Esther, one day, we need this guy, you know what, I will get rid of him only after he will have his children, and one day one of them is going to be Mordechai. I think what Chazal are trying to tell us here in a beautiful way is that although the kingdom of Shaul disappeared, in Jewish history nothing disappeared. Maybe it replaced, but it never disappeared. There were certain qualities in the Malchut of Shaul that Am Yisrael need. Maybe in a regular way, the Malchut of David is a Malchut that was established by Shmuel, by Hashem forever. Does that mean that Beit Shaul has to go down history as a phenomenon of one time? No. And even David knew that. The fact that he leaves Shimei might be that he realized, as bad as this person was, there is some quality there, and I'll tell you what is the quality, because this midrash sounds so like far-fetched, but I think it holds such a profound truth. You know, one of the secrets of our nation, we don't bow down to power, because otherwise we wouldn't be here. And you know, what is the tribe that presented more than anyone else? Is the tribe of Binyamin. And I'll tell you why. You know, Chazal noticed something very interesting in the Torah itself. When Yaakov meets Esav, what is happening? Yaakov is running and bowing down 7 times until he arrived to Esav. When Esav come to visit the camp, all the Shvatim, the Imahot and their children are bowing down. And you know what? When the Torah is telling us something like this, it means that at a certain point, in a vital point, we, the Jewish people, will have, from time to time, to bow down to Esav. That's the fate of Jewish history. And we saw it all the time. But it's not every Jew. Because you know, one Jew was not on scene at this time. Who was it? Binyamin. Binyamin was born only when, after this meeting, they arrived to Eretz Israel, in Beit Lechem, Derech Efrat, he was born. The only one who never bowed down to Esav was Binyamin.
What about Dina? Dina was in the table.
Okay, fine. Okay, you're right. But from the Shvatim, who established eventually Am Yisrael, you think Mordechai lo yichra velo yishtachave? It's an echo of Binyamin lo yichra velo yishtachave. Okay, Binyamin was not there physically, but this character of not bowing to Esav, bowing down to Esav, was kept by Binyamin. For the chutzpah of Shimei, yes, of course, it was a great chutzpah against David. But how many people have it, this ability to fight against power? Yeah, it was diminished power when David left, but you see, he was the only person who came out. And I have a strong feeling that David, knowing something about people, knew that it was wrong at this point to do something like this, but he realized that this Shimei has something within him. that maybe sometimes as it's refined over generation, over time, over education, might be good. And I think that's what Chazal are telling us here. The ability of Mordechai to lead against Haman came from people like Shimei. And Shimei was bad, but the character of standing to power, there is something very, very important in it. And I would say maybe one of the secrets that our nation is still there, the ability to stand against power. So it's really interesting how the two parts of the Shir are connected. Let's tell the story of the Megillah. I know that it's a short time. If we will need, maybe after Purim, we will do like a Shushan Purim. So this is a story about Achashverosh, who is doing an amazing party of 180 days. Let me ask you a very simple question. Okay, convention, 3 days, 7 days. I don't know, 10 days. What crazy thing is it? Like 180 days, all your sarim, everyone around is coming, no one is working. Well, what's that? Why? We have to assume that in Shnat Shalosh Lemalchuto, it's a third year, things are not going well. It happened, people don't like him, he's not so good, he's not handling the situation very well. And therefore, like before elections, what happened? No taxes, all kind of reforms, financial, economic ones. And Achashverosh is going to the lower denominator. People like someone who will give them food, wine, women, luxury, a party. And he's doing that. Which in turn almost toppled him. It's very, very hard to be an emperor and to be Mr. Popular, as we are going to see. But one of the issues was that he saw that he's so popular that he can even, his own wife, that according to Chazal was, and we can assume, as it happened, was from a royal family. According to Chazal, she was the daughter of Nebuchadnezzar. But even if they just want to say from a very royal and important family, he wants to say that it's about me. I have the power to rule this empire, and it has nothing to do with my wife. And his wife, who apparently was royal, cannot accept it. And think about the stupid advice that he get from his advisor to get rid of Vashti. But they just follow his idea. His idea was, I want to show my power. If he, after all this party, will forgive Vashti for not coming to his party, he missed everything. Because eventually he's not so powerful, because even his wife does not accept him. Why should I accept him, the person on the street? And therefore the only solution can be get rid of her. To me, the most important story in the Megillah is actually the story about Biktan Bateresh. We have to understand Biktan Bateresh are Shomrei Asaf. You know what is Shomrei Asaf? It's the bodyguards. These are the people that usually are chosen very, very carefully. You do tahkir bitchoni, like you find who are their family, where are they coming from. I can tell you, a year ago I was in APAC. So Mr. Penis was talking to everyone. The FBI are sending dozens of agents because they don't trust the security of APAC, and they check every single person. Can you imagine? Now, they check about every person, where he's coming from, who is he, what is he doing in Washington. Can you imagine what security check these guys are going through? Because if one of them is not loyal to the FBI or to America, he can cause unbelievable harm. He will enable maybe to kill the president, something that maybe many wants in America, I don't know. But they have to be the most trusted. And it was always like this. The bodyguards, Shomrei Asaf, they must be the most loyal people. If they try to kill the Achashverosh, we can understand that his position was like shaky like this. If it got there, so everyone is like this. And Achashverosh is aware of it. This shows him that really his life doesn't worth much and maybe his days are numbered. And therefore his reaction is very, very simple. We don't hear anymore about the Bikta, Bagta, Zeitar, Karkas, all these ministers, we don't hear their name. בימים ההם גידל המלך אחשוורוש את המן. We never heard about him. But this is the right person to run the security now. I will take someone anonymous who is going to be very grateful for me making him such an important person. He will be a person that everyone will fear, apparently with a certain personality. And he will find out who is trying to maybe take my life. Because it's clearly not only Biktan Vaterish, it's everyone. So how can I trust these people who are mentioned in Perek Aleph? Maybe they are part of the plot against me. It must be someone from the outside. We don't hear about a man before. He will be the new head of the FBI. That's maybe the reason why they took someone like Esther. Anonymous, no family, from the streets. Yes, we discussed it last week if it's good or not, but at the end of the day, she does not possess a danger like Vashti, who came from a royal family. She's someone simple. She's not going to make, she became the queen from nowhere like Haman. These people must be loyal to the king. And I think that's the story behind Esther and behind Haman, which gave them some power also, because they came from unknown background, and as we are going to see later in the Megillah, that what scared Achashverosh in a second thought. He doesn't know much about Haman and he doesn't know much about Esther. And they form a coalition inviting him to a strange party, not once but twice. Haman, with the story of Mordechai, and that I explained, Mordechai was not stupid at all. It's nice to say that Mordechai was from Binyamin, so he never will bow down to Haman. But yes, that's maybe a nice drush. But in the political arena, as I said, he had immunity. When everyone is suspected to be against the king, there is only one person in Shushan who proved that he is not. This is Mordechai, who saved the life of Achashverosh. So who is going to suspect Mordechai to be against the king? No one. And therefore Mordechai lo yichav, he doesn't care about Haman. He already proved that he is 100% loyal to the king, and as I said, he was apparently the only person in Shushan who was like this. Haman is doing something that might actually even give some power over Mordechai. And this is also a very old trick. What do you think happened to the treasury of Achashverosh after a party of 180 days, and such a lavish party?
It was emptied.
What?
It was emptied completely.
Completely. He was on a verge of bankruptcy. There is no question about it. Even an empire, 180 days, not doing anything. For sure. He was bankrupt. And Haman knew that. And Haman is telling him, give me the Jews, I'll give you their money. Guys, that's exactly what Hitler did. Hitler had an agenda against the Jews, obviously, for many, many reasons. But one of the issues was taking the money. In all the death camps, they had special department to get all the money of the Jews and to sustain the war against the world. All the many of the art, gold, silver, everything, this was part also of the strategy of the Germans, how to sustain the war machine. To the point, it's not enough time to talk about it. Last year died a person, was a professor in Vancouver. He was one of the 3 people who managed to escape Auschwitz. Can't remember his name, a Jewish guy. He was a professor in Vancouver. He died 96, 97 years old. And his theory in his book, his theory was that actually that's was the reason why Hitler got rid of the European Jews, just to sustain the war machine. It's, it's an interesting book to read about his life and the escape from Auschwitz, but it was much more than that. But obviously, the money issue was a very important one. There are no questions about it. And the man is doing exactly the same. Someone has to cover the debt. And it seems like the Jews are going to be perfect people for this. This happened in Spain, this happened everywhere. The Jews always were the source of sustaining the different princesses in Germany, in Europe, in everywhere. It was always the job of the Jews to cover the debt of their countries, or they're going to be expelled. We know that very well from Jewish history, and this is another story. And why do you think the Egyptians ran after the Jews? They needed them as slaves, and they needed all the money that they took as the fair compensation for their work. Listen, in our world, you always have to follow the money. That's how Hashem handles the world. I'm telling you, you have to follow. Think about where Jews are spread all over. It's always like around places where somehow the Jewish community can sustain itself. People are moving from one place to another for Parnasa. That's a very powerful way for Hashem to run the world, and this is no different. This is no different. So Achashverosh hear it, and I'm sure that he didn't sleep many nights. What is he going to do? Like, he has no money in the treasury, and here Haman come with a perfect idea. Like, 10,000 kikar kesef eshkol, this will cover the debt, and I will be able to go on with my life and with my empire. Then comes Mordechai and Esther, and Mordechai said, listen, this is the time that you have to do something. The whole story is so strange that you arrive to be the queen. It must be something that comes from heaven. And I just want to draw your attention to the important fact. You know how many years the Megillah takes from Perek Aleph to Perek Yud? How many years are going in between? Did you ever thought about it?
It's less than a year.
Less than a year?
7 or 9.
What?
7 or 9.
7 or 9. It's 11 years. The story starts with Bishnat Shalosh Lemolcho, and in Perek Tet, where he gives Beit Haman to Mordechai, it says that it was in the year 13 to Malchuto of Achashverosh. The whole story is taking 11 years. So what we read, it's like going, to a movie, like an hour and a half, and like it's good. But sometimes it's like a story of 3 families, 3 generations. So this, in the 20 minutes or half an hour that you hear the Megillah, you have to understand, you see a trailer of like 13 years, which the Jews themselves, when it happened, they don't notice the development of the story. For us, it's like from... As you see, many people, I asked my students, all of them saw that it's 1 year, because we read it like it was like a short story from the beginning to the end. It's not. Even Esther was only in Shnat Sheva Lemalchuto. So between Vashti and Esther is like good 4 years in between. So, and the Megillah spelled it, or along the Megillah you can have the years and how the story is developing. Anyway, Esther invites Achashverosh to a party with Haman. She's his wife. By the way, it's very important to notice that Esther refuses to go to Achashverosh. What does she say? Everyone knows that someone who tried to come to Chatzar HaMelech HaPnimit, achad dato lehamit. Oh, why? Don't let him go to the king. Why lehamit? The answer is that Achashverosh, fear for his life, apparently made a very tight security rules. No one is allowed to come unless the king approves it in advance. Because otherwise, what is he doing there? It must be only one thing. He tried to kill the king. He was so paranoid that even Esther was afraid. Why Esther is why? Because actually every person in Shushan, as I said, except of Mordechai, was under suspicion. Was under suspicion. And as I say, that will explain you. When Esther comes and somehow she, Achashverosh was intrigued what's going on and she invited him to a party with Haman, his mind started to think, what's going on? I don't know, but actually, who is this Esther? Like, I took her from the streets, who knows what happened? And Haman, like, why not me and him? Ooh, maybe there is something here, but he couldn't sleep. Who could sleep in a situation like this when you think that the closest people to you, the head of security and your wife, maybe have a plot against you? And what he asked, what is he trying to see? Is there any person that I can trust in this city? And they bring Sefer Divrei Hayamim and they see, oh, there is someone. Who is it? It's Mordechai. Well, in a situation like this, Achashverosh thinks to himself, you know, a person like this has to be recognized, has to be rewarded. And he asked, what reward we gave this person that I can trust? And they say nothing. And this is indeed the miracle of the Megillah. While Haman is so confident that Achashverosh will give him a free pass for everything, he is not aware that his success is actually raising the red flags in the mind of Achashverosh. What's going on here? I gave this guy too much power. As I told you, it was always a way of Stalin every 2 years to get rid of the head of the NKVD because he couldn't trust them. And eventually, by the way, who killed Stalin? Most likely it was Khrushchev, who was the head of the KGB at the time, and he was faster than Stalin. Stalin was killed, with no question. He did not die naturally. That's my take. Stalin was killed in 53. There are some theories who killed him. He moved between his family but I think that the research showed that it was Khrushchev himself who killed him, who was the head of the security. And he knew all the secrets, and he knew when he eats and what he eats, and that's how he killed him. And he made sure that there are no guards when he gave him the poison. Anyway, I bring the case of Stalin because all emperors are like, they are susceptible to the same problem. Like, you give too much power to people around you, and sometimes they are so intoxicated with the power that they use it against the person who appointed them. So Haman, he hears some noise outside, and he asks me b'chatzer. Again, you can hear from the question and from the urgency, like, who's there? Who's there? He is so afraid that someone is coming. And they tell him about Haman. And that I explained the last time, what Achashverosh is actually doing a very smart test to Haman. He said like this, who is this Haman? If he is loyal to me, whatever I'm going to ask him, he's going to say, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that. If he's not, if he really think about himself, maybe in the next empire, I will find it out very soon. He speaks about Mordechai, what to do with the person that the king owe him and want to reward him. Haman fell into the trap. He think about himself as a person who became so like powerful, and I'm sure that he think about like Vet asher gidlo hamelech means like then actually the king depends on me. That's what the big mistake that he made. The king depends on me. So I'm actually more powerful than the king himself. And he tells the king, thinking about himself, oh, show everyone that he can ride the horse of the king, be on the streets of Shushan. It was before the corona, I guess. And, you know, and Achashverosh hear that and he say, okay, it's all clear now. This Haman is actually planned on toppling me. Like, it's not even a question. If he asks for himself, and because Achashverosh knows what Haman think, and he said like this guy, Mordechai, I never rewarded him. This guy I rewarded, and he actually think about the next step. So now I have to make it clear what is going to happen. Haman, I want everyone to know that he lost his power, and Mordechai, the loyal person, got his power, and therefore within a second, Haman comes from the Rosh Hasarim to nobody. By this, he also immediately protects his life from a possible plot between Esther, Haman against him. Because in his mind, that's what happened here. And now he's 100% sure about it because Haman actually revealed what is his next step. So by this, he killed two birds, Esther and Haman. What he didn't know is what will happen the next day. When Esther is going to tell him, Ish tsar boyev Haman haraze, that is, she's completely, not only not on his side, but he is her enemy. Enemies, enemies. We talked about it. She's my friend, so she's not only my wife, she's on my side. And when a man is falling on the bed, he understands that he tried to complete maybe the idea of taking the wife and replacing the king. All this will give us some explanation in the strange way the Megillah ends. וישם המלך אחשוורוש מס על הארץ באיי הים. He became like a tax guy. Why is it important to tell us in the Megillah? Because again, the transition of Achashverosh from someone with no responsibility, who run parties, tried to be Mr. Popular, he became, through the 10 years, a responsible person. And the king who want to maintain his kingdom need taxes. We are going to see it, by the way, the next year with Shlomo. Shlomo was a super master of taxing people. And I want to wish everyone Purim Sameach. And we will see each other in 2 weeks, Bezrat Hashem. Thank you very, very much. ולהתראות.